Hello, welcome back. If you've seen my videos before, if you're new, hello, my name is Rachel Aust. I'm a trainer, nutritionist, and wellness coach, and today we are cooking some super easy dinner ideas. I've got 3 options for you today, and they can all be cooked up in less than 15 minutes. Now, I do have full recipe instruction cards over on my blog Eat, Run, Lift if you would like something more detailed to look at when you go to cook it yourself, which is hosted by Squarespace, and Squarespace is today's video sponsor, so I did want to say a quick little thank you to them. They are my preferred choice of web host. Can you hear the dogs coming to join us? They hear me speaking and they go, hi, come on. Okay. For the recipes that I'm sharing today, I decided to put these together in just single portions, simply because it's easier for you to calculate if you're making only your dinner, but if you want to make bigger portions or you want to meal prep them, just multiply. And I will include an ingredient list before I start each recipe. Nothing here is overly complicated. I try to keep my recipes as simple as possible, so even if you feel like you're not too handy in the kitchen, give these a go. I promise you will be able to execute them. They are simple enough. If you've hung around here for a while, if you've seen my meal prep videos, you probably know that I love salmon. It's one of my favorite types of proteins. I love the texture. I love the flavor that the fats bring. And so I thought I'd put together a crusted salmon bowl. This has got a mouth-watering, delicious, crunchy texture, and when combined with all the other ingredients that we're putting in today, is jam-packed full of micronutrients. Plus, the healthy fats are going to help you feel satiated, and it really doesn't take very long to put together. So even if you get home from work, you're feeling pretty lazy, this is a good option. To start, in a bowl, I'm going to make the crust for the salmon. To do this, I'm going to mix my melted butter, breadcrumbs, salt, and pepper in a bowl. And then I'm going to pat that crumb down onto the skin of the salmon. One of the ways I like to get salmon really crispy, even if it doesn't have the crumb on it, this is such a good technique to use when you are cooking and you just want a crispy skin, is I put some baking paper on top of the pan. Now heat the pan up, make sure it gets to a really hot temperature before we start to cook the salmon. I'm going to place the salmon skin side down on the pan and allow that to cook for 4 to 5 minutes before I flip it over and cook the other sides. Now I'm using packet rice, don't judge me, it's easier, it saves me time. If you want to do the same, go for it. If you want to cook your rice from scratch, go for it. And I'm opting for brown rice here today, but you do not have to use brown. For this meal, honestly, when I've made it previously, it's just a mishmash of whatever is in the fridge. So today I decided to use some spinach, and then I had a bagged pre-cut salad mix which had some corn pieces, it had carrot, it had cabbage. Any of the leafy veg like that is going to be such a great filler for this dish, and it's going to help you hit your fiber target for the day. On top of that, I also wanted about half a cup of cucumber, so I just chopped some of that up and placed that into the bowl as well. Now this is optional, but to add a creamy texture to contrast the crunch of the salmon, I'm adding in a quarter of an avocado, and then I'm going to mix up my dressing for the salad. I decided to use a little bit of olive oil, sesame oil, and then coconut aminos. If you don't have coconut aminos, you can use soy sauce in its place. Once the salmon was ready, I just popped that on top of the bowl, added the dressing over the top, and also a little bit of sesame seeds just to garnish. I feel like this is one of those meals where it feels like it's that level up. It feels like you put a lot of effort into your food, even though it took less than 15 minutes to cook. The first recipe was salmon. The last recipe that I'll be doing today is chicken, so I thought, let's do a vegetarian option. Sometimes I really like having just omelets or frittatas for dinner because they're so simple and they really don't take very long to make at all. Plus, I just really like eggs. I don't know, I eat them nearly every day. So for this recipe, we will only need the one pan, but you're going to be using a hot plate and also a grill just to finish it off. So I like to start by preheating my grill so that it's ready to go, because the part where we're cooking on the hot plate doesn't take very long at all. To start, quickly chop up your onion and your capsicum or bell pepper, whatever you like to call it. It doesn't need to be done neatly because we're just throwing this into the pan. Once the pan is hot, I like to spray some olive oil and then put the onions and the capsicum in first, allowing them to cook for a few minutes before I'm going to add anything else. Once they're softened, I'm adding in some olives, some spinach and tomato, and allowing them to cook until the spinach is slightly wilted. Now, while we're at this point, you can add whatever spices you like. Maybe you want garlic, maybe you want onion powder, maybe you want rosemary, whatever it is, but I just decided to use some salt and some paprika. Now in a separate glass, I'm just going to stir my eggs together. So I've got 2 whole eggs and 1 egg white. If you want to use 3 whole eggs, use 3 whole eggs. I wanted to use 2 whole eggs and an egg white just for the protein to fat ratio. But egg yolks are a great source of choline, which is essential for heart health and memory function. I'm going to pour the eggs into my pan and I'm going to sprinkle some feta over the top. Then I'm going to take my pan and I'm going to pop that into the grill for around 4 minutes until everything is set. And as soon as it's set, I'm going to pull it out and I'm going to sprinkle some fresh parsley on top. When I was much younger and I didn't feel like cooking myself dinner, I would often just resort to like eggs on toast because it's so easy, and like I said, I really like eggs. So this is an option that if you like that, this is along a similar vein, but we're throwing in some veggies, so it's got a good amount of fiber. It's going to help your digestion and you'll probably feel a little bit better after having something like this. Okay, this one is so flavorful and just like the others is incredibly easy to put together. And if you meal prep, I highly recommend trying this recipe in a meal prep. You don't even have to do the whole thing. You could prep part and you could add the noodles in later. You could swap noodles for rice, whatever you feel like doing. This recipe will keep quite well in the fridge, or you could even freeze it if you enjoy freezing. If you do freeze, I would recommend leaving out the noodles, the spring onion and the cashews and just adding them on top later when you go to serve it. Is it just me or am I losing my voice again? Yesterday I lost my voice for like the whole day and I don't know why. Like, I feel perfectly fine, but I went to send some video responses to some of my clients. Any of my clients on my permanent coaching roster, when they do a check-in with me, I send them a video back responding to their check-in. And I couldn't do it yesterday because my voice was just gone. It was so weird. Anyway, getting sidetracked, let's make this cashew chicken stir fry. What we're going to do first is marinate the chicken. Now you can either just do this for a couple of minutes if you're in a pinch for time, or if you're prepared and you're organized, you could actually prepare this, keep it in the fridge so that when you come home of an evening or whenever you want to cook it, it's in the fridge, marinated, ready to go, and it's just going to increase that flavor saturation even more. Now for one serving, I'm using 150 grams, that's raw weight of chicken. I'm combining a tablespoon of coconut aminos, but again, you can use soy sauce if you don't have coconut aminos, honey, hoisin sauce, and sesame oil. We're going to mix them together well and coat the chicken in them, and like I said, if you've got time, prep it, put it in the fridge, and then use it when you want to use it. If not, just let it sit in there for a few minutes before you cook it. In this situation, if you want to use a spray olive oil, you can, but I'm using liquid olive oil just because it will create an actual stir fry a little bit better than just a spray would. So I'm starting off by cooking the chicken on its own, and then I'm gonna let that cook through and then take that off the pan before I cook any of the other ingredients. While the chicken is cooking, chop up your broccoli, capsicum, snow peas, and onions so that they're ready to go. Once I've removed the chicken from the pan, I'm going to put the onion, capsicum, broccoli, and snow peas in there. And you can use these fresh if you want, but I had some garlic, ginger, and chili paste in my fridge, so I'm just going to use those up. But if you want to chop them up fresh and put them in, do that. So we're just going to allow this to cook through for a few minutes. 4 to 5 minutes is usually enough until the broccoli is tender. Now I'm using some whole grain pre-cooked noodles here. So this one is from the brand Waka. So I'm using about 100 grams, which is about half of one of these packets. We don't want to overcook the vegetables here, so let's add the other ingredients in now. So I'm going to throw in my noodles, chicken broth, hoisin sauce, coconut aminos, and I'm also putting the chicken back in, and I'm going to let that all cook together for a few minutes. With this kind of recipe, I would recommend just chopping everything up quickly beforehand rather than doing it all as you go, because it is really fast and we don't want to overcook anything. After they've cooked together for a few minutes and the chicken broth has cooked down a little bit, I'm going to pour it into a bowl. I'm adding some cashews, and I'm also adding some chopped green onion on top. Now, if you want to know the calories or the macronutrients, or if you just want full step-by-step instructions, I do have that over on my blog Eat Run Lift, as well as heaps of other recipe ideas for you guys. And like I said, I try to keep it simple. I don't want to overcomplicate healthy cooking. While we're here and I'm showing you the recipe index on my blog, I did want to say thank you again to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. I've been using them to host not only my Eat Run Lift blog, but also my personal journal as well, which has way more information on it about indoor plants, just FYI, if you care about that kind of thing. I actually used to use a different host like 7 years ago, and I just found it too fiddly, too annoying. I didn't want to deal with all the plugins and all the coding that I had to do myself, and when I switched to Squarespace, it made the whole web design process so much easier for me. They have pre-designed templates which you can either use as is, or you can customize fully and deck it out to make it completely your own. They also make running my e-commerce a breeze because they have third-party integrations where you can hook up your accounting software. You can set up your email campaigns through there. There's no fiddly design work needed. If you want to put together a blog post, you can duplicate one you've made previously to keep a familiar format for your viewers. And you're able to drag and drop elements and place them exactly where you want them without having to go in depth and coding anything. If you're looking for a place to set up your blog, website, portfolio, or if you're looking to transition yours over from somewhere else, try out Squarespace. You can set it up on a free trial, have a little explore of the back end of it, see how it feels to operate and use and set up your presence, and then when you're ready to launch your site, you can use my code, which I'll put in the description box or on the screen, and that will get you 10% off your first purchase. So thank you again to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video, and thank you guys for coming to hang out with me, and I hope we can catch up soon, either in the comments or on my next video or whatever it is. I hope you're really well. And if you're here looking for healthy cooking ideas because you're trying to fuel yourself well and nourish your body and pay a little bit of attention to what it is that you are eating, I'm really proud of you. If you want more ideas, jump on over to my blog Eat Run Lift, or I also have heaps and heaps and heaps and heaps and heaps of meal prep videos. Thanks for coming to hang out, and I'll catch you guys in my next upload. Bye!